Good afternoon, good early evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is TJAZZART&COMICS, and I just wanted to give you an update. So if you haven't heard, as of last Friday, the legend Chuck Norris went to go put peace to rest at the age of 86. However, our favorite mainstream outlets are trying to tarnish his legacy, surprise, surprise, as they do with anybody they disagree with. However, I don't know about you, but this is probably the most glorious community note I've ever seen, so let's get into it. Chuck Norris was a great action star, but politics may overshadow his legacy. Now, when it comes to these things, I don't think we should put politics into any of this situation, because politics are and is the downfall of culture. But the lovely community notes on X-Twitter decided to show us this. Chuck Norris killed his shadow while shadowboxing. That's why you never see his shadow when he comes up behind you. Chuck Norris can never be overshadowed. Honestly, guys, this is in like my top 5 favorite community notes since people tried to, I don't know if you recalled, I think it happened last summer, when certain women were trying to say Sydney Sweeney's certain assets were fake. And X-Twitter said, oh no, they're quite real. This is probably gonna go down as one of the greatest community notes in all of history. I hope it does, because somebody out there was like, nah, we're leaning into the meme, because you don't disrespect Chuck Norris this way. And I got a giggle out of that so much. I even put down when I was responding that yes, this was very informational. And speaking of information, now if you guys are aware, Chibi Reveiws recently made a video, 5-minute video, of this article from the New York Post that I believe came out like a day ago or Saturday. I can't keep track of my days sometimes. Saying that they're about to ban hentai. And he went on a rant about how they're going to ban hentai, they're going to ban lolly and furries. So I decided to explore the article a little more, because whenever an article like this comes out, you know, there's like, oh, this state of Georgia's going to do this bill to ban it. Oh, the state of Wisconsin's going to do a bill that ban this a part about anime and manga, and etc, etc. So I assumed that there was going to be a bill attached to it. But here's what I found instead. And the woman that they're quoting is Dr. Rachel Needle, and she is a licensed psychologist and the co-director of Modern Sex Therapy Institutes. And we're going to take a look of what she said. So as it gives a history about hentai and what it is, and lolly, and this I didn't know about. 43% of women watch this stuff more likely than men. Ain't that interesting? And she explains what it is, but we're going to take a look at something that we all know is common sense. So she goes into this part, so let's take a look. This aesthetic is content with its theme of sexy innocence that pervades hentai content. Within the genre, content that sexualizes girls is called lolicon, or lolly. A lecherous nod to Vladimir novel Lolita, the sexualization of boys, is dubbed snotbacon, I think is how you say it. Critics argue that hentai encourages adults to see minors, especially girls, as legitimate targets of sexual violence. But here's what this doctor said. However, Needle notes that the consumption of this content does not necessarily beget action. Quote, engaging with fictional sexual content does not automatically translate into a desire to act out those scenarios in real life, Needle said. In many cases, fantasy media can function as a psychological outlet for curiosity or imagination without crossing into behavior, she continued. Still, she notes that when it comes to arousal, the brain responds to cues and doesn't distinguish between real and drawn. Hentai exploits this by amplifying those cues beyond anything nature produces. In exaggerated proportions and impossible scenarios hit the reward cruelty harder in some people more than others. She shared that over time viewers may require increasingly intense or unusual stimuli to achieve the same level of arousal. This phenomenon can contribute to a form of desensitization or for certain individuals. Escalation, for certain individuals. Although this is not universal, it depends greatly on personal habits, frequency of use, and individual psychology. In other words, not everybody who consumes this content ends up being that certain type of criminal. A psychologist is saying this. Which I was like, wow, when a psychologist is saying this, you know it's bad. And of course, it depends on the person. So we know there's certain types of people, you know, the ones that we make signs about that say, please take a shower because you're ruining it. Maybe those would be more likely. However, 9 times out of 10, most people who consume this content are not those types of people, and they don't end up as those types of criminals. I wish Chibi went over this article so that way he can see that no states thus far, the US government thus far, has not banned this, has not gone after Pornhub for this again like they have in the past. So I wanted to bring that up. It talks more about the psychology and common sense. What a breath of fresh air. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to see more content, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and the notification bell. And let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think this is just common sense, or will this give more leverage to certain types of people who don't know fiction and reality? Anyway, that's all I got. Thank you so much for this video, and I'll see you guys on Thursday night.